Hi, everybody. I just learned a quite unusual thing happened at the border between the two provinces in China. The Hubei province, where the epicenter was, and the Jiangxi province, the neighboring province. What happened is, the Chinese authority has now stopped the lockdown of Hubei province, so Chinese people are allowed to travel or to leave the province. So some Hubei people wanted to cross the border to Jiangxi. And normally, there's border is no control and no checkpoint. But what happened is they were not allowed to enter the neighboring province because the police from Shaanxi stopped them. And then the police from Hubei argued with the police from Shaanxi, and that they should let their people in. But they refused, and at the end, it ended up that the police of Hubei and the police of Jiangxi, they fight each other. It's interesting. And the people of Hubei supported their police, so they helped the Hubei police to beat the Jiangxi police. And it became a riot of thousands of people participated. And you could even see that people, the Hubei people were so angry because they feel discriminated, so they even turn around the police cars of the Jiangxi province. It's interesting, yeah? So interesting to understand this behavior. Chinese people, mainland Chinese people, they used to claim that they are discriminated. They are discriminated by the Westerner, by European, by North American, But interesting is now they discriminate each other. How come? Well, normally when you discriminate people, usually there is, I would say mainly two reasons. One is because of the ignorance. You just don't understand the whole story. You don't understand the people. And second reason is you understand also to lead to the human nature. Yeah? Because all human, doesn't matter which nationality, has always two sides. Yeah? The good side, the bad side. Or, as the Buddhists said, the Buddha side and the demon side. So if you understand human beings are like that, then you will not so easily claim that someone is discriminating you because of your race. It may not be because of race, because if that is the reason why the Shaanxi Chinese discriminate the Hubei Chinese, they are all Chinese, same race, so that you cannot call them racist. So what is it? So. And then of course egoism is another reason of it. But the ignorance and ignorance in understanding humanity is usually a very common reason for that. Most Chinese think many Westerners are racist against Chinese. You know why? Because what they have learned is really a kind of ignorance education. They learned that, the British poisoned the Chinese with their opium, these 100 years of humiliation. The 8 countries' allied army invaded China and damaged things and so on and so on. But why I say because there's ignorance, because most Chinese didn't know. For example, it was not the British who first make the Chinese to smoke opium. The Chinese were many Chinese were taking opium long before the British came with the opium, the so-called Opium War. So that again, make many Chinese to think totally wrong, saying that the Brits and the Westerner, poison our people with opium. That's why they justify that China now is exporting fentanyl to America to poison the American young people. Hey, come on, this is, really, we have not understood the history. It's the nature of human who make all this kind of mistake. Yeah, the Brits, of course, is wrong. to export, to make money. Just for the sake of money, they export opium. But the truth is, they were not the first one who make the Chinese smoke opium. And the same thing with these 8 countries allied army invaded China. Every Chinese learned about that. But what they didn't know is that before they invaded, the Chinese Boxer movement killed many foreigners, and including even the ambassador of Germany was murdered. And that angered the Western power, and also actually not only Western, Japan too. This is why I say discrimination very often comes from ignorance. But another aspect in this conflict between these 2 provinces is, Hubei province, people from this epicenter of Hubei province, actually, why the Shanxi people afraid to let them in? It is interesting. Even the police, although according to the Chinese authority, there's 0 new cases, 0 new infected in Hubei. So that's why they opened the border. So now you can find out the reason yourself. Now, another thing which I find it also interesting, what happened in connection with the coronavirus or CCP virus, and that is, China is a world factory, right? So a lot of this medical stuff you need in coronavirus time, like mouth protective mask, like hand washing, disinfection liquid, and things like that. These were a lot produced in China, and now it turned out that Chinese government very early already told all the exporters, stop exporting all this stuff to foreign countries. Keep it for ourselves. Okay, that is not the worst things. But then what happened is, as early as beginning of January, some companies in China got the order from the government to start buying up such medical stuff or hygienic stuff in the world market. And even a company like the company called Greenland, a real estate company in Shanghai, they had a lot of money because, real estate company used to make a big business. So they were told to use their money to buy up as many mouth masks as possible, and hand washing, disinfection liquid as possible, and so on. So what happened is, when this CCP virus spread to many other countries, you know that, ladies and gentlemen, today we have 199 countries which are infected. It's a real pandemic that humankind hasn't experienced for a long time. Now, what happened is, now Germany, Italy, UK, South Korea, all sort of countries who are suffering from this epidemic, they need all these medical and hygienic products. They could not buy it because all bought up by the Chinese. So don't think that it's because only they produce. It's not true. But the thing is, they have bought up also the stock from foreign countries. So now, in order to get these things, to buy these things, almost the only source is China. So many countries ask China, please sell us this and that. And China put condition. Well, for example, country where the government has been criticizing the behavior of covering up of the epidemic in the beginning of the year, this country will then not treat it as a favorable country. Difficult for this country to buy all this stuff. By the way, those countries who manage to buy, like Spain and Czech Republic, maybe they don't criticize so much. But then it turned out that, for example, they have bought a lot of test kits from China, and both in Spain and Czech Republic, it turned out that 80% of these test kits do not work. So that's another problem. So it's interesting that how the CCP managed to make everything an instrument in power game. So even hygienic products become a political weapon. This is another side of CCP. Now, another thing which I find interesting is, that in the last few weeks, China has been spreading around the world that the Wuhan virus is not coming from Wuhan, not even from China, but from America. The first one is the spokesperson of the Chinese Foreign Ministry, Zhao Lijian. He wrote in his Twitter and claiming that it was an American soldier last year in October participating in the military Olympics in China and brought that to Wuhan. But for a few days ago, suddenly they stopped talking about that. And not only stopped talking, this Zhao Lijian even deleted such a statement in his Twitter. And the Chinese ambassador in America, Cui Tenkai, and the Chinese most important propaganda outlet in foreign country, the Global Times, they all changed the tune. Now they don't say that America was the one who injected the virus into China. Now you say, oh, America and China, they should cooperate and to fight together this coronavirus. Interesting. Now, then people want to look for reason. I also try to look for reason. And there are two reasons that sounds credible for me. One reason is this happened, a few days ago, and day before yesterday, it was announced by Donald Trump that Chinese President and party boss Xi Jinping asked him for a telephone conversation. So, and in this conversation, Xi Jinping wanted to talk with Donald Trump about eventual cooperation in fighting coronavirus. Well, of course, if you, in the same time, using your official outlet to blame America for the virus and then the virus, and then you in the same time talk about cooperation, who will listen to you, right? So this is one reason which I think is credible. Another reason, which I also think is credible, is that China has been driving a rather aggressive policy in the South China Sea. And actually, last year, in July last year, China even live fire some missiles to demonstrate their military might to control South China Sea. And what happened is last week, America made also a military exercise outside Philippines, in the South China Sea area, and also live fire two very advanced missiles. And I understand that these two missiles was a kind of warning to People's Republic and to CCP. And I understand that CCP was a bit shocked by these two very advanced missiles. And also, not only technically they're advanced, but the might that Donald Trump wants to show. You better be careful. I'm not going to, just watch what you're doing in South China Sea and doing nothing. So there was a kind of warning. So the world is really happening a lot of things in the world, very interesting, and we better watch out. So thank you for today, and see you next time. Bye-bye.